Thanks for tuning in for this episode, Best Practices for Interoperability. Hi, I'm Laura Beth Ezel for HxGN TV, and joining me today I have Tim Hanna from South Sound 911 and John Whitehead with Hexagon Safety and Infrastructure. Now these two are here to share with us some best practices when it comes to regionalizing your PSAP and creating interoperability across multiple agencies. Now this is a big topic, we've heard a lot about it, more and more agencies, so thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
Tim, I'm going to start with you. It's no secret, like I just said, we're seeing more and more counties, countries even consolidating their PSAPs. Why are we seeing this?
I think we're seeing it for two reasons. I think one of them is resources, and the other is interoperability. And resources is not just about financial. I think it's about employees. It's about talent. It's widespread. Communication centers are complex, and they're getting more complex with the IP technology and the requirements of interoperability. But we're seeing cities, counties not being able to afford sustainability of a communication center. It's becoming very expensive. So we're seeing a lot more of the regionalization of people coming together, sharing resources, employees, a bigger spread of employees. It's a 24/7 operation. It's very hard sometimes to get qualified, talented employees. So when you have a bigger pool, you can provide that service to a more depth community. And then the interoperability is the other huge part, is law enforcement, public safety is now requiring the interoperability piece. And that's not an inexpensive venue. So therefore, interoperability is a must. So data sharing is a must. Having common CAD platforms or RMS systems to be able to share data, make it seamless, to get officers, firefighters back in the field to provide public safety is the utmost important. And I believe those two things are really driving this regionalization and consolidation efforts.
All right. Well, John, you work with numerous different customers of Hexagon Safety and Infrastructure across the United States who are either exploring this concept or implementing it now and have already created a consolidated PSAP solution. So what are some of the challenges you feel that they are up against when they're trying to regionalize their PSAP?
So the first challenge I think that they're up against is within their own self, right? It's the assumption that we're the only one in the US or we're the only one that's experiencing this type of situation. And I think when they realize that there are others that have gone out there and kind of been the frontier, and kind of been out in the front of this thing, and they can start learning from their peers and start using their peers as resources to be able to get some of that data. I think some of the other things then, you hate to simplify it by saying the politics of life, but it really comes down to some of that, right? It's some of the key areas like who's going to be in charge of what and who's going to have responsibility for what type of topic. And at the end of it, if you can get over that as an agency, what we find across anywhere in the US is they start operating, to Tim's point, it's the sum of all parts type of excuse, right? Everybody comes together and it's the best of everyone that makes just a great type of center.
It's a change management, that hump of getting over the whole change management.
It's just getting over that initial hump, but once they get started, they find that there's a lot of really good resources, whether at their state level or amongst their peers, to really start digging into this regionalization effort and getting out there and making it happen.
Tim, one of the things you stated was an underlying need to share data, the importance to share data across multiple agencies to ensure personal safety. I mean, in the end, that's what we're trying to do here. So Tim, we'll start with you on why is this so important, and then John, give your insight as well.
Well, I'll start with an example. What we had before we started regionalization is we had agencies just intermixed in our county. And what happened was right across the border would be a different CAD system, a different radio system. Literally, we would have deputy sheriffs driving by an in-progress crime because they weren't aware. And that does provide an officer safety issue. So now with an integrated CAD system, now they know what their neighbors are doing. They know, hey, if there's a pursuit coming, instead of waiting for the call from another dispatch center, they're seeing that information right away. They're getting a situational awareness within the whole county rather than, oh, I might get a call and might be made aware of it. So, and on the fire side, it's the same thing. We're trying to use AVL technology and other ways to, how do we get a medic to that critical patient faster and to save lives? And before, with those boundaries, we couldn't do that. With disparate CAD systems, with disparate RMS systems, you just weren't able to really do the job that the public expects from us. And so we're changing that. We're not there yet necessarily, but we're making the steps to make it more seamless for our community.
John?
Tim said it very well. I mean, what it comes down to, I simplified it into 2 words: data sharing.
Yeah.
And whether that's happening while the incident's going on or after the fact, and how we can learn as a community from that, it's, as everyone knows, we live in a world where if an incident takes place, it is immediately uploaded to social media. It's
Right.
immediately, in some cases, the community on social media know about it before the 911 center, the officer even arrives. These are the types of things that, you know, more people start going to the scene, more people start congregating and showing up. The officer needs to be able to be involved with all of that data and understand what's going in. And the more you regionalize, the more that data sharing allows them to be able to do that. That's during the incident. After the incident, then, it's taking that data. How's things working on a Saturday night at midnight in the municipality over on the west side of the county versus the municipality over on the east side? And I think that being able to share that data, it makes us all in public safety stronger, which, to your point, helps the citizens, and that's really what it's about.
And really, as a citizen, we don't think about anything of that. We just think that
Right.
the closest person is coming
That's it.
to help.
Yeah. The community
Yeah.
doesn't care what patch or badge is on the shoulder of a police
Right.
officer or what
Right.
medic unit arrives, whether, oh, that's my fire district. They don't care. They want an officer with a gun, or they want a paramedic that's
Yeah.
able to save someone's life. They don't care about what the name on the side of that unit is.
Right.
Yeah.
So, John, let's talk about some best practices for PSAP interoperability, and let's talk about what are some solutions that are out there to assist agencies in doing this regionalization.
Well, some best practices. I think that, and again, this isn't from myself or as a vendor discussing these. These are really from the public safety community, and what they're coming down to is communication. It's never too soon to start talking about regionalization. Even if it's 2 agencies let's pretend we're in a county area. If 2 agencies decide they want to start getting together and becoming a regional effort, that can spark interest in going. So it's never too soon to start communicating. You also then have to be able to set the boundaries. You have to be able to say, we've got representation from all of the different agencies, from all of the different factions within those agencies. So I've got dispatchers involved, chiefs involved, sometimes mayors and those type of upper dignitaries that are all pushing in the same direction. That has been, and there's a whole list of things that we can go into, but those seem to be the keys as far as best practices go. As far as resources that are out there available, I mean, listen, there's all types of technology on the market today. What we're finding is that making sure that agencies have the right technology that allows for interoperability, that allows for multi-agencies, because one of the worst things you can run into, and I think Tim might be able to expand on this a little, is someone being a dictator saying, thou shalt do it this way. It immediately starts turning people off. So having software that gives you that capability to really be a little more fluid, sometimes they're going to have needs that you're just going to have to bend and go with there. I think the other thing I'd go with as far as resources that are available probably comes down to monetary. A lot of at the state level especially, but some local levels, grant funding now is being tied to the ability to interoperate.
Okay.
Some states are going as far, I don't know if they've actually used the word mandate, but there's a way of getting more money if you're in a regionalization type of effort.
Okay. Well, Tim, I want to get to you sharing with us how South Sound 911 was able to consolidate. Y'all consolidated 5 dispatch centers to service 41 police and fire agencies. So kind of tell us how you guys went about that.
Well, I'll expand on what John started with, is that it took a community effort. It was police chiefs and fire chiefs coming together. It was elected officials looking at some of the monetary issues, some of the just what the community was saying. So it didn't just happen. We did go to the voters and ask for a tax measure to increase sales tax to provide the funding to really provide a regional foundation for this. But ultimately, it wasn't just the voters deciding to vote on something. There was some movement behind it, which was those elected officials, police chiefs, fire chiefs, officials that were willing to come together. And it got down to that partnership level where it was, hey, we had face-to-face. We talked about what's the goal here? What is, and the goal was always the same, provide the best public safety for our citizens. And when we got to that foundation, then you can start building trust and partnership. So it isn't somebody just dictating, well, if we join them, they're going to tell us how to do this. It's really coming together. And our board structure for our agency alone is a very unique structure. And it allows the police and fire chiefs, which was not done before in our county, to really have both police and fire come together jointly to make decisions on how to operate this agency. They are the operations board. They're the ones that tell us, this is how we want to see you function. And then there is that elected officials that are our policy board, and they are the financial arm of our agency. They're the ones that direct that policy, the financial, the budgets. But then it still leaves that level of the police and fire chiefs to say, but this is really our agencies, this is our mission. And so it's a unique structure, but it works really well because we built those partnerships. Then when the voters said yes, we started it in motion. And so we are down to the 3 centers now, and hopefully in the next couple of years we'll get our building completed and we'll be in that 1 building.
Wow.
But right now, even with 3 buildings, due to our CAD platform, we're able to have the 3 centers operate common CAD platform, sharing the data until we move into that building.
You know, and there's so much new technology that is on the market or coming. Does this help in a future sense of bringing in new technology down the road, of having a regionalized, unit, of being able to implement things?
I'll take that. I believe so, right? I mean, because like everything else in life, new processes, new requirements push the technology barrier forward, right? And I think that's what we're seeing here. And you're starting to see things like the Hexagon product IPR, to where we're actually starting to pre-plan now, because now it's not just single agency gets a single call and goes out and sends a single person to the incident.
Right.
Now I have to prepare for, I'm going to have a large-scale event. I'm going to have multiple agencies responding. Who's going to do what piece? So you're starting to see these types of things, and I believe technology is going to continue to move forward to be able to keep up with that. The other thing I would say is things like smartphone and app-based, right? Those types of technologies make it easier for agencies like Tim's to be able to get it out to the masses and say. So instead of worrying about, well, I've just got my handful of units. Now you've got multiple agencies with multiple units. Getting apps out and getting those out quicker and easier, cloud-based, that type of thing, helps all the agencies out.
Anything else you guys would like to share with me?
No, I think to expand on what John said, we are seeing more agencies even come to us saying, hey, how could we join onto your system in order to do that? We're seeing it. We have a neighboring military base that's saying, hey, maybe we can leverage your technology because you guys have proven that you can do this, to maybe the data sharing to make it more effective. And so if there is an incident in that military installation, that they can rely upon local resources to come help them. So I think we're seeing that trend. We're seeing, instead of saying, hey, this is my world and I want to protect it, we're seeing people say, we have to share, we need to share, because we are all on the same team and we have to work together.
Yep.
All right.
I would agree.
Yeah, thank you both for your expertise and your insight today. And for more on this discussion, you can go to hexagonsafetyinfrastructure.com, and to watch additional episodes, you can go to HxGNTV.com. Thanks for tuning in.